March 24th, 1999. A phone rings in the dead of night at Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. The voice on the other end delivers a message that would make history. The B-2 is going to war. For 12 years, America had invested $44 billion in developing the most advanced bomber ever created. Critics called it the Pentagon's most expensive mistake. Skeptics claimed this flying wing would never work in real combat. Tonight, all of that would change. 6 B-2 Spirit bombers were about to embark on a mission that would redefine modern warfare. They would fly 6,000 miles to a war zone, drop their bombs with surgical precision, and return home without a single enemy radar detecting them. This is the story of how America's Ghost bomber proved its worth and changed the face of military aviation forever. The year is 1987. The Cold War is at its height, and the United States Air Force faces a terrifying reality. Soviet air defenses have become so sophisticated that traditional bombers would never survive a mission over Moscow. The Pentagon needs something revolutionary, something that can penetrate enemy airspace completely undetected. Enter Northrop Corporation with a radical design that looks more like a spaceship than an airplane. The B-2 Spirit isn't just another bomber. It's a flying wing with no vertical tail, no traditional fuselage, just a sleek triangular shape that seems to defy the laws of aerodynamics. The engineering challenges are immense. How do you make an airplane invisible to radar? The answer lies in revolutionary stealth technology. Every angle of the B-2's surface is carefully calculated to deflect radar waves away from their source. The aircraft's skin is coated with special radar-absorbing materials that cost more per pound than gold. The engines are buried deep inside the wing to hide their heat signature from infrared missiles. Even the engine exhaust is specially designed to dissipate heat and reduce the bomber's thermal footprint. The result is an aircraft with the radar signature smaller than a bird. But this technological marvel comes at an extraordinary cost. Each B-2 bomber costs $2.1 billion to build, making it the most expensive military aircraft in history. The total program cost of $44 billion could have funded the entire Apollo moon program. The first B-2 takes flight on July 17, 1989. Test pilots describe flying the Spirit as unlike anything they've ever experienced. The aircraft is so aerodynamically unstable that it requires constant computer corrections just to stay airborne. Without its sophisticated flight control system, the B-2 would crash within seconds. Years of testing follow, but the bomber faces growing criticism from Congress and military analysts. The Cold War is ending. The Soviet Union is collapsing. Do we really need a $44 billion nuclear bomber when the threat it was designed to counter is disappearing? Some lawmakers call for canceling the entire program. The original plan called for 132 B-2 bombers, but budget cuts reduce that number to just 21 aircraft. Critics argue that the B-2 is a solution looking for a problem, an expensive relic of a war that will never be fought. Then comes March 1999, and everything changes. The crisis in Kosovo has been building for months. Serbian leader Slobodan Milošević is conducting a brutal campaign of ethnic cleansing against Kosovo's Albanian population. Hundreds of thousands of refugees are fleeing their homes. The international community watches in horror as reports of mass killings emerge from the region. NATO decides to act. Operation Allied Force begins on March 24, 1999, with a massive air campaign designed to stop Serbian forces and protect Kosovo's civilian population. For the first time in its history, NATO is going to war. The mission planners face a difficult challenge. Yugoslav air defenses are formidable, built around sophisticated Soviet-supplied surface-to-air missile systems. These SAMs have already proven their effectiveness by shooting down advanced F-117 stealth fighters during previous conflicts. Traditional bombers like the B-2 would be sitting ducks in this environment. Even stealth fighters face significant risks when operating over heavily defended targets. What NATO needs is a weapon that can strike anywhere in Yugoslavia without warning, penetrating the most heavily defended targets with complete impunity. The answer sits in hardened hangars at Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. 6 B-2 Spirit bombers, finally ready for their first taste of combat. The mission briefing takes place in a secure room at Whiteman. The target list is extensive: Serbian command bunkers, air defense sites, military headquarters, and communication centers. These are the heart of Milosevic's war machine, protected by multiple layers of air defenses that make them nearly impossible to attack with conventional aircraft. The B-2 crews understand the magnitude of their mission. They're not just bombing targets, they're proving that stealth technology works. 12 years of development, $44 billion in taxpayer money, and America's reputation for military innovation all rest on their shoulders. Captain Jim Koszewski, pilot of the lead B-2, later recalls the tension in the briefing room. "We knew the whole world would be watching. If we succeeded, it would validate everything the Air Force had claimed about stealth technology. If we failed, it would be a disaster not just for the program, but for American credibility." The mission profile is unlike anything attempted before in military history. The B-2 says will fly 6,000 miles from Missouri to Yugoslavia, drop their bombs and return home, all without landing to refuel. The round trip will take over 30 hours, pushing both aircraft and crew to their absolute limits. Each bomber carries 16 2,000-pound joint direct attack munitions, precision-guided bombs that use GPS navigation to hit targets within 40 feet of their intended impact point. The total payload represents more destructive power than entire World War II bombing missions. At 2200 hours, on March 24, 1999, the first B-2 Spirit bomber rolls down the runway at Whiteman Air Force Base. Within minutes, all 6 aircraft are airborne, invisible ghosts carrying death across the Atlantic Ocean. The flight to Yugoslavia takes the bombers over the Atlantic, across Europe, and into the heart of the Balkans. Serbian radar operators scan the skies, searching for incoming NATO aircraft. They track F-16 fighters, F-A-18 Hornets, and various support aircraft. But the B-2s remain completely invisible, phantoms in the night sky. As the bombers approach their targets, Serbian air defense crews have no idea death is approaching. Their sophisticated radar systems, the same ones that had successfully tracked and shot down other stealth aircraft, show nothing but empty sky. At exactly 0100 hours local time, the first B-2 releases its bombs over a Serbian command bunker outside Belgrade. 16 2,000-pound JDAMs, separate from the bomber's internal weapons bay, guided by GPS satellites to their precise coordinates. The explosions light up the night sky. Within minutes, command bunkers that had taken years to build are reduced to smoking craters. Communication centers that coordinated Serbian military operations go silent. Air defense sites that had threatened NATO aircraft are eliminated in seconds. The Serbian military command is stunned. their most heavily protected facilities are being destroyed by an enemy they cannot see, cannot track, and cannot fight back against. It's as if the bombs are falling from thin air. Over the following days, the pattern repeats. Night after night, B-2 bombers arrive over Yugoslavia like deadly ghosts. They strike the most heavily defended targets with surgical precision, then vanish back into the darkness. Serbian forces begin to call them invisible death, aircraft that could appear anywhere at any time without warning. The psychological impact is enormous. Serbian commanders realize that no target is safe, no matter how well defended. The B-2 can reach any location in the country, strike with devastating accuracy, and disappear without a trace. It's a level of military dominance that hadn't been seen since World War II. The numbers tell the story of the B-2's incredible effectiveness. During the first 8 weeks of Operation Allied Force, just 6 B-2 bombers destroyed 33% of all Serbian targets. Flying from Missouri, they delivered over 650 precision-guided bombs with a 90% accuracy rate. Each mission required extraordinary endurance from both aircraft and crew. The round-trip flights lasted up to 32 hours, making them some of the longest bombing missions in military history. Pilots survived on combat rations and caffeine, pushing their bodies to the limit to maintain focus over such extended periods. The B-2's stealth capabilities proved even more effective than expected. Throughout the entire Kosovo campaign, not a single B-2 was damaged by enemy fire. Serbian air defense operators later admitted they occasionally detected strange radar signatures that appeared and disappeared quickly, but they never managed to get a missile lock on any of the bombers. One Serbian air defense commander described the experience. It was like fighting ghosts. We would see shadows on our screens, but by the time we tried to respond, there was nothing there. These American planes were unlike anything we had ever faced. The precision of the B-2's attacks was equally impressive. Using GPS-guided JDAMs, the bombers consistently placed their weapons within 40 feet of their intended targets. This accuracy was crucial in a conflict where minimizing civilian casualties was a primary concern. The strategic impact extended far beyond the immediate military effects. The B-2's performance in Kosovo sent a clear message to potential adversaries around the world. American stealth technology was real, it worked, and it could reach any target on Earth. Military analysts from Russia, China, and other nations studied the Kosovo campaign intensively, trying to understand how the United States had achieved such total air dominance. The B-2's success sparked a new arms race in stealth technology and air defense systems that continues to this day. The bomber's debut also vindicated the Air Force's enormous investment in stealth technology. Critics who had dismissed the B-2 as an expensive boondoggle were forced to acknowledge its revolutionary capabilities. The aircraft had proven it could do exactly what its designers claimed, penetrating the most sophisticated air defenses and striking targets with unprecedented precision. For the families of B-2 crew members, the Kosovo deployment was a time of intense worry and pride. Wives and children waited anxiously for news from each mission, knowing their loved ones were flying into danger in aircraft that had never been tested in real combat. Captain Sarah Mitchell, wife of B-2 pilot Major Tom Mitchell, recalls those difficult weeks. Every time Tom left for a mission, I wondered if I would see him again. These were unproven aircraft, flying incredibly long missions into hostile territory. But I also knew he was part of something historic, proving that American innovation and technology could protect innocent people from tyranny. The end of Operation Allied Force on June 10, 1999, marked the conclusion of the B-2's combat debut. The results spoke for themselves: mission accomplished, 0 aircraft lost, and strategic objectives achieved with minimal civilian casualties. The success in Kosovo opened new chapters for the B-2 program. The bomber would go on to serve in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and other conflicts, consistently proving its value as America's premier strategic weapon. Each mission built on the precedent established over the skies of Yugoslavia. Today, the B-2 Spirit remains one of the most capable military aircraft ever built. Only 19 of the original 21 bombers remain in service, making each one worth approximately $2.3 billion. They are maintained by highly specialized crews who treat each aircraft like a priceless work of art. The lessons learned from the B-2's first combat missions continue to influence military aviation development. The success of stealth technology in Kosovo led directly to the development of the F-22 Raptor, 35 Lightning II, and the next-generation B-21 Raider bomber. The psychological impact of the B-2's Kosovo debut cannot be overstated. For the first time in military history, a nation possessed the ability to strike any target on Earth with complete impunity. The implications for global power projection and deterrence were enormous. Looking back 25 years later, the B-2's first combat mission stands as a watershed moment in military history. It marked the dawn of the stealth age, proving that advanced technology could fundamentally change the nature of warfare. The bombers that took off from Whiteman Air Force Base on that March night in 1999 carried more than just bombs. They carried the hopes of a nation, the culmination of decades of research and development, and the promise of American technological superiority. When they returned home after their successful missions, they brought with them proof that the $44 billion investment in stealth technology had been worth every penny. The B-2 Spirit had earned its place in history, not just as an expensive military asset, but as a revolutionary weapon that changed warfare forever. The ghost bomber had revealed itself to be very real indeed, and the world would never be the same.